time to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back.
Always late.
Please, mate, if you knew me at all, you'd know I'm the first one here every week. But thanks guys, thanks for joining us. You're watching the Insight NRL Show. It is round 2 for the weekly preview. And TLT's come and gone. We've got basically 24 hours of information, Josh, to work with and a fair bit to cover, a fair bit to go through today. But at the end of the day, mate, we probably should be talking about last week. Obviously, Mattrix isn't here, so he doesn't get to gloat just yet, but I'm sure he'll be here soon. He's the real one we're waiting on, Josh.
Yeah, no, I think he called us about 5 minutes beforehand and said, boys, as the top scorer, I want to make a grand entrance. Would you be okay holding the fort down for 5 minutes? And we said, you know what, mate, it's going to be the very rare occasion that you actually do win the week. So, we'll make an obsession for you this 1 week. So, yes, he's just waiting for the curtains to be pulled back and he make his grand reveal.
Yes. But he deserves it this week. He had a really good red-hot start. Guys, if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. Please hit like. It does help us grow the channel and grow the show. And if you're listening to us on audio, hit that follow button. Leave us a 5-star review if you like our stuff. For everybody who hasn't jumped in and joined the Unlimited League yet, it's not too late. We're going to be shutting it down around that round 4-5 mark. So 211518 is the code. You'll see it on the screen there. 211518. Standard squeeze of the week. We'll be announcing tonight for our first top scorer in that Unlimited League as well. So there's some big scores floating around in that league, let me tell you. But it is also not too late to join the World Cup either. So if you want to get involved and you fancy yourself across not just NRL, but AFL, NBL, and BBL, you can join the World Cup. It's only $25 to enter. That will close at the end of round 4 as well. So you've got to get in quick. We've got about 45 participants at the moment. So that prize pool is growing. 50% of that goes to the winner. And then the top 5 are getting paid. So jump on in there if you fancy yourself across all 4 formats. Josh, the NRL Ultimate Fantasy Championship as well has obviously it's started, but we're still taking entries as well in this, aren't we?
We are the NRL UFC, so the Ultimate Fantasy Coach. If you consider yourself an NRL expert, not just in SuperCoach, but in Fantasy, Dream Team, and Mixer as well, it's a 4-format league. Jump in, your ranks are going to be aggregated across all 4 formats, with 3 of them having different scoring. So it does take a little bit of strategy. Do we have the standings from last week yet, or have you been slack and not done them? No, we don't.
Right. I outsource it, so I can't technically be blamed. It's probably going to fall on me anyway. Just blame me. It's fine.
I want to know. The only reason I ask is that
you actually did all right, didn't you?
I was going to say, I assume I'm somewhere at the top. That's the only reason why I wanted to know. But no, look, get around it, get involved. It's something that I love. I've never played Dream Team before, but I'm somehow ranked 400th in that, and it's supposed to be my worst sport, so it's good. But yeah, mate, World Cup, UFC, 2 revolutionary contests, and I'm glad people are enjoying them.
Yeah, it's been good fun. We obviously track the leaderboards. We'll post them up on socials, but we'll also pop them up in the Discord. So if you want to jump in there and stay on track, you can do that as well. Now, we know Mattrix isn't far away, so let's have a chat about our scores last week. You start, mate. You did better than me.
Couple of scores on the doors. So I scored 12-31 with updates. Very thankful for that. Team's actually in pretty good stead. I don't know how I feel about being in the middle, so I'm going to move myself. Hello, Mattrix. Scores on the doors, not too bad. Yeah, 12-31 with updates. Very lucky that the team's not too much in tatters. Any trades I do make this week will be pure luxury trades. So, yeah, it's a good spot to be in heading into round 2. What about yourself, Mr. Brain?
1186. It feels like I'm a bit further behind than I am. I think obviously with round 1, scores early on don't really matter too much. And if you get caught too much on your rank in your first probably 5 to 6 rounds, you're probably wasting a bit of energy worrying about it too much. I know it's very easy to, halve your rank or quarter your rank early doors if you get a really big score. So I'm in the same position as you, I think, Josh, in a sense of I'm not going to be making any trades this week. just to try and bank some. And obviously it gives me an extra week to look at these players, which is going to be the theme of tonight. But we're going to try and get into the trade conversation regardless and give you guys some options if we were to trade, which direction we'd be going. But Hamo's asking to mute Mattrix before he talks, which is completely valid. Mattrix, you get your time to gloat, mate. You had your hour yesterday to gloat. You get more time tonight.
That's great. I just had to have a couple scooey moi mois with my brother-in-law for his 29th birthday. He's excited. Shout out to Josh. I tell you what, if you want some burger related content, follow burger.king.josh on Instagram. And I tell you what, there is a multitude of pictures of burgers. Like, not even like just Red Rooster burgers. It's everywhere he goes, he gets a burger.
Would you say he's the Burger King? Is that fair?
Yeah. And I'm a bit worried that after all you guys follow him, he might step on one small Hungry Jack's owned company called Burger King, but I think he'll be okay. So get out there, follow Burger King Josh. That's my gift to him. A little bit more than the promotional Ford football he got from me today, because I might work for one certain company. But mate,
Mitsubishi?
30, yeah, exactly. 1344 for me, and I would say that I am elevated from life this week. I am feeling sensational. I tell you what, I'm just top of the world. It's not always. Whoa.
No, we just left to trip you out.
No, it's not always like, it's not every week you get to wear the crown hat, Mattrix crown hat, pop into the store, but everything just went right for me. My not even I, who was Jesse Arthur's biggest fan, thought that he would be scoring a 94, Asako a 96. I was shitting myself not owning a lot of guns. I did get kissed on the Wii a little bit, and it's first week, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah. The hosts are like Kalmatualangi. We just both disappeared, which is exactly what Kalmatualangi's done at 4 p.m. yesterday. So, yes, but Rod's also corrected. It's not always what you spend, but it's what you save, Mattrix. A true component of your own words there. But, you had a cracker of a week, so hopefully you can back that up again next week. I'm hoping that the guys that I've backed in the preseason that I'm not going to trade, that I'm going to hold the faith on, and we'll talk about a lot of these guys tonight, I'm hoping that we see a bit of a bounce back from those guys, because I spent up at 2RF on guys like Hopgood, Preston, Hosking that all didn't barely crack 60. So, I'm hoping those guys turn it around, especially the red mist Alex Seyfarth. Hopefully he can turn it around for us this week as well. But, guys, on the show tonight, we've got plenty to talk through. We'll talk through the winners and the losers from TLT as well. A bit of an easier one to get through this week rather than round one. Buy, hold, and sell is back. It is the first buy, hold, and sell segment of the year. So we'll give you our top 3 buys, holds, and sells for this week. We'll also have a little bit of a watch list to go through and the players that we're not going to jump on right now, but we'll be watching for next round. We'll go through Captain's Corner and we'll give you our game day squad of the round as well. But we'll kick things off with the standard squeeze of the week. The top scorer in the Unlimited League, sponsored by the Standard Squeeze. For those of you, if you're sick of breaking glass bottles, your beers are going to go warm, you leave them out too long. Doesn't happen to Mattrix, but it could happen to you out there. Or maybe your coffee gets cold in the morning. The Standard Squeeze have got you covered to help you drink responsibly and also conveniently. You can go to their website, thestandardsqueeze.com, use the code IFS2025. Get yourself 15% off everything in store. And the winner, Mattrix, is Kurt, coach of Average Joes. Very good team name. With
nothing
a 15-15.
Nothing of that average about his team.
Ooh. Run us through his team, Josh, because this bloke has gun after gun and seemed to get nearly everything right last week.
Have I been stitched up here? I don't have the team in front of me.
Jesus Christ. It's in the notes.
Oh, no, it's right here. It's right here. Never mind. If I opened the notes and be a competent co-host, we would know. Shout out to Kurt, coach the Average Joes with a 15-15. That's a very, very big score. He had AFB. In the notes here, it says ADB. So very curious on who that is. Adam
Who did these notes?
He had Adam Fanua Blake, Payne Haas, Hamola Elakwatu, DCE, our Lord and Savior Jesse Arthurs, and Captain Ponga. Fuck me. Sorry, I don't mean to swear. But if he captained anyone else that wasn't KP, this could have been like 15-50, 15-60. And Howarth, he had Howarth as well, and even reserved Japanese rugby's finest, Jaromir Shibasaki. Shout out to him.
Yeah. I write the notes. I do a typo every now and again, but you know what? When you write 3 pages of notes 3 times a week, it does. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. I apologize. But shout out to Kurt. That is a massive start, and he's 20th overall.
He won a standard squeeze pack, so please make sure you get in touch with us to claim your prize. And shout out to Jeremy Shibasaki, who's doing wonders for the community.
Absolutely. He's on the tips of everyone's tongues this week, that's for sure. If you didn't start with him, aka me, you're probably going to want to get him in soon and jump on the bandwagon, which I'll probably be doing in the next fortnight, but I'll keep you guys updated. Let's talk about the winners and losers from TLT. Guys, a little bit to talk about from TLT. Obviously, some implications SuperCoach-wise. We've got for the Finns, Finafuiaki obviously out with the HIA. Lemuelu, he's out with a fractured cheekbone, so he's going to miss 6 weeks. I suppose it means good things for Max Plath. Gilbert, there's obviously a lot of security in their minutes there, which is great. I can probably foresee Gilbert playing 55 to 60 minutes again. What do you guys think, Mattrix? Do you see any implications there? Any love for Max Plath off the back of that?
Oh, I tell you what, there's love for Max Plath and Tom Gilbert, I think, with every member of the Insight Fantasy Sports team. But yeah, like it's just wheels up. Like maybe this accelerates if you'd planned on going Max Plath next week. Maybe you could just lock in this one. Even the way that the Knights game against the Tigers was a bit of a grind fest, and some of these guys might.
You can say Pusley now. It's all right. You can say.
Yeah, I was trying to be polite,
mate. When have you ever been polite? Come on,
mate. When I was talking to the person at the bar that was giving me these fantastic $7.50 Carlton Dries before I got here.
$7.50 Carlton Dries. That is as much as I pay for an ice latte in North Sydney. So I am being very much ripped off.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to brew the beer like at the pub. You just drink it. But sure. But look, Max Plath and Tom Gilbert to the moon at the moment. I think Gilbert is how would I say this? A 55 to 60 scorer all year. But Max Plath might get elevated a little bit in this one. So I think, like, if I could give the ball if I've got the ball and I'm running and I could go one way and see Max Plath and I could go the other way and see Oren Keeley, I'll let you know which way I'm going.
No, shout out Oren Keeley. I found out today that my girlfriend's good friend dates Oren Keeley. So shout out to Oren Keeley. So big fan of the show. I think if you own Finafuiaki, also probably wheels up, as weird as that sounds. Obviously not playing this week, but minutes should be pretty secure for the next month afterwards. So if I own Finafuiaki, great. If I own Max Plath, also great. And if I own Gilbert, even greater. Probably buying both of those guys next week. Like they're probably the targets for you if you're looking at them. For the Panthers, Braino, Casey McLean named on the wing along with Brian To'o. You've got Isaac Tungo and Paul Alamotti moving to the centers. I guess it puts a nail in the coffin for any plans of Jesse, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sadly it does. But again, look, we probably knew this, didn't we? You know, their full-strength backline, I don't think, had Jesse in it. I think we were pretty confident Casey was going to be the guy that got the role. Obviously, doesn't miss any time. Thankfully, he had the Vegas game and had 11 days. I think it was 12 days between games. So, yeah, big win for Panthers and big win for Casey McLean owners because he will feature in the buy, hold, and sell. I won't tell you which category, but it'll be pretty obvious where he sits, I think, this week now that he's been named. Very quickly, Hamish Stewart holds on to his bench role. Obviously, Clemmer's near the Dragons, and there's a few moving parts there with Blake Laurie coming onto the bench. But good, I guess, for owners or anybody that had him at front row forward 4. Hopefully, he can get some cash for us and hold that spot. But, boys, the big talking point is Jamie Humphries holding on to the 7. Lewis Dodd training in the orange bib at training. So I'm not quite sure what that means, whether it's an injury or whether he's, not in the preferred 17, which is wild to me, considering they paid $700K to get the bloke over, Mattrix. Do you actually see there's a world where Jamie Humphries just makes the 7 his own this year and Dodd plays cup? I can't personally.
No, I can't. I think Dodd's going to get his run. But Jamie Humphries, you can't drop him after the game that he just had. I, for one, loaded up on the Dolphins, so I'm very mad at Jamie Humphries. But I expected them to go a lot better, and he steered the ship and probably played a little bit better than even Cody Walker in that game. Like, honestly, like the bib, the injury that they might be hiding might just be being butthurt. And they're just waiting for Jamie Humphries to make one small step that's a little bit wrong, and then Lewis Dodd will get his chance. But look, right now, if they're saying he's injured or whatever, it's scaring me off adding Jamie. But I tell you what, in some of the formats that I don't care about as much, like fantasy and Dream Team, wheels up Jamie Humphries because
you should definitely care about both those formats, and everyone should care about them and play the Fantasy UFC. Link in the description.
I do pay Fantasy UFC, but I'm a little bit more invested in SuperCoach.
That's fair enough. I guess
I get what you're saying. Like, I've got no interest in Jamie Humphries from SuperCoach Braino. Like, I'm just going to let him go through to the keeper, like, regardless. But the 706 kick meters last week can't be ignored from a DT / fantasy perspective. So if you play those formats, kick meters are gold. So he's a guy I'm definitely eyeing off. But yeah, for SuperCoach, I think I'm just going to. I could rue the day, but I'm just gonna probably end up just fading him because I don't have enough money to go from Duffy to him, and I'm not downgrading my gun halfback for him.
Not when Dodd is so close. We just don't know the situation there, and I'd rather not take that risk. And look, Duffy's there at halfback. I'm completely fine with leaving Duffy there for the short term, and that a pretty good segue into the Cowboys team list. Purdue and Duffy hold on to their 17. So Dodd's named in cup from Jay Fraser there in the chat. Thank you. So Purdue and Duffy holding their spots is great. You know, we've seen Jeremiah Nanai get punted, but we haven't seen Purdue and Duffy get punted. So interesting selections by Todd Payton. We won't dive into them too much because there's not really much SuperCoach relevance in Nanai in Classic. Appy and Buller, though, return for the Tigers, Josh. Big win for the Tigers there. We get to see our full-strength spine for the first time. Stafford Toa comes in as well into this lineup, replacing Fatape. Little social media win for you on that one. But what are any implications here? Obviously, we talked last night about the fact that, you know, having a full strength spine means maybe better go forward for guys like Seyfarth that we're hoping take a step up again this week. Yeah,
fingers crossed. Obviously, Seyfarth on the right, up against, I assume, 2024 preseason icon Sean Lane, which could be good. But up against like that Dylan Brown side as well. So maybe the Tigers just target Roller Volkman, which means Fainu, and we sit here next Tuesday and be like, oh, you know what? It was just the game plan. And maybe it's round 17 and we're like, you know what? It's just the game plan. It's gonna turn. But no, like I'm very inclined to give Seyfarth another week. If you do listen to Over the Cap tomorrow, we talk about this game being a 3.5 point affair. So the bookies do have it relatively close. So we would expect a bit more of an arm wrestle, which we would hope to see Seyfarth's base return back to somewhere around the normality of around that 36 to 40 tackles a game.
Some value in the 13+ market then for the old Orange team.
I'll tell you what, there was one co-host that did say Tigers minus 3.5 was their bet this week. So I'm not going to say which. One of the co-hosts is a Tigers fan. One of them is a Storm fan. I'll let you work out who bet on the Tigers.
Yeah, not the hurt Tigers fan for sure. Guys, for the Bulldogs, Josh Curran comes back onto the bench for his first game. We've got Daniel Saluka Fafita starting again. Sam Hughes, unfortunately, out with an ankle injury, requires surgery that he will be out for 6 weeks.
I think it was a Mitchell syndesmosis.
First of the year.
Yeah, first Mitchell syndesmosis of the year, but yeah, it doesn't look great for him. Can't wait to see Daniel Saluka Fafita named to start and play 16 minutes. That's what we love to see. Yeah,
it means good things for Jacob Preston, Mattrix. Obviously, we've heard that Viliami Kikau's rumoured to be getting injections as well. I'm not sure what the injury is, but apparently he's getting needled up to play. So my assumption, Matty, would be that Preston plays 80 and Kikau's maybe the one that gets rotated for Jamin Salmon off the bench.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Like, I don't want to keep plugging. We did a little buy, hold, and sell, and one of my guys was Preston this week. You can pick where you want to put him, but I'm really high in this game on him. So I think that it's a bounce back, and we could see something, 70+ from him.
Yeah, I think, I read that Kikau basically has to play the rest of his career getting needled up. Like, it's an injury that he's just going to be battling with the rest of his career. So I would imagine any kind of flare up, any kind of hit, any kind of knock, then he's the one that would make way, not Preston. So that's, definitely wheels up. But they're all the winners. Let's move on to the ones who weren't so good, the losers, I guess you could call them.
We can call them the losers. Yeah. That's probably because it says that in the notes here. Might need to find a friendlier word for it, but they can be losers this week. Adam Elliott comes onto the bench for his first game. The question becomes, does this spell curtains for 80 minutes for one of the edges, or do we just see Elliott and Frizzell playing exclusively in the middle of the park? Matty, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm kind of happy I don't own any of them. I know that I'm sitting between a man sandwich of KPP and Lucas owners right now. But, I mean, just any question mark just creates losers in that forward pack. I think Adam Elliott's best role is in the middle. We've, of course, got Frizzell as well, who we've seen play on the edge in the middle in the past. But, realistically, any question marks is bad, and I can't pick either way. If I was the coach, I would make sure that Lucas is playing as many minutes as possible. KPP looks really good, freeing the arm in the last one. But, yeah, look, just any question marks around Newcastle forward pack is good for non-owners. But, yeah, I mean, you're gonna be clenching your cheeks as KPP and Lucas owners in this one, just to see who comes on.
I reckon they both play 80 personally.
So do I. It's a two middle bench. There's Jack Hetherington and Matt Croker. Like, that's it. I think Adam Elliott plays in the middle. I think Tyson Frizzell also plays in the middle. I keep reiterating this point, but what was really telling for me was in the Knights Defend the Kingdom series, Tyson Frizzell was specifically mentioned as a lock. So look, you've got a bench of Jaden. Look, Phoenix Crosland may come on and play a bit of 13, but I'm betting that Frizzell and KPP, Lucas and KPP both play 80, and I'm not too worried at all. As both a Lucas and a KPP owner, I'm not too worried at all.
Yeah, me neither. Chanel Harris-Tavita stays in the 6. We talked about this being maybe a concern or a red flag for us if we saw CHT named in the 6 again to partner Metcalf. We won't dive into Metcalf because there's plenty to talk about with him in the buy, hold, sell segment. So we'll move past that one, but there's plenty of chat coming on that. Billy Smith on the extended bench, boys. Obviously, he's overcome that. I think it was hamstring or ankle, whatever it was that he did in the preseason. So what are we thinking? Does he come in for Toya or Nwanganituwaze?
I don't know. I heard other creators say that Dom Young wasn't great in defense because Mark Nwanganituwaze was fucking prime Mark Gasnier, wasn't he? Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Like, I think if anything, like Mark just drops out.
I think so as well. Yeah.
I just think Dominic Young offers too much in attack to.
You still got to score points, don't you?
Dom Young's not getting dropped.
You can't beat Penrith Panthers 2-0. Like, you've got to score tries. I do fear for that left side though. I think what was it? Toya, Young, Chad, and Wong.
Yeah.
It's a rough time to not be a Cleary owner. Wouldn't know though.
Absolutely. Yeah, Brian Toto coming back. Couldn't come back at a fucking better time, could he, either to face that edge. We're talking about Jeremiah Nanai. He's been dropped for Kai O'Donnell. Wheels up Kai O'Donnell. Someone predicted this in the preseason and copped a few flames for it, I'm told, after the event. So,
but also he was saying that I wanted to bring this up in the winners and losers, but also you were saying that like it was Johnny Bateman that was going to make way. I tell you what, Josh, you and I can coexist. Like, I can be a Bateman owner, you can be a Kai O'Donnell owner.
It's like the what is the saying? The enemy of the enemy is my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess we're joined at the hip there. It's the Kai O'Donnell and the John Bateman-a-thon. Wheels up Kai O'Donnell. The bolter bet of him averaging more than I don't even think it was a bolter bet. I think it was just a hot take that he would average more than Bateman by season's end. He's alive. You know, with the chapter started in round 2 much earlier than I actually thought it would.
Let me give you the red hot tip. I would much prefer the guy outside Tom Dearden than outside Duffy. So, you know, Josh might have the lead there initially. We'll see. We'll see if he can hold on to it. Zach Hosking.
I watched Supercoach last week and Tom Duffy outscored Dearden. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's a brag or not. But Zach Hosking, I don't know how I feel about his 80-minute prospects anymore with Nicholson on the bench. But again, so you got Sasagi and Nicholson.
Starts now, boys.
It could. I feel like there's a few things you've got right. So I think they're starting to compile together here, Josh. Nicholson on the bench, though. Does that create concern around Hosking's role? Obviously his job security is okay, but I think maybe 80 minutes is a bit of a stretch for us to expect that. We were happy with 60, though. Are you still happy with 60 minutes at his PPM?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the non-owner out of you two, so I guess I could probably comment. I'd still take 60. If you told me Hoskins was playing 60 week in, week out, I'd still take it. I'm just concerned with Simi Sasagi and Matty Nicholson. Like last week, it was just Sasagi, so we were like, sure. But now it's Nicholson and Sasagi. But I don't know, man. Like Ricky's sitting there going like, oh, he offers his versatility in the middle, despite being like England's fucking best edge. And that includes like guys like KPP. Like, I don't know. But like, I'm not selling if I have Hosking. Like, I'm absolutely not selling. But it's just a little bit of squeaky bum time. Just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a watch this week. The good thing is he scored well in the first round. So it's not like he's coming off at 30 and we need to second guess him like Seyfarth. We can say that the role when he's on the field is pretty secure.
He scored a 72, didn't he? He got the 70,
yeah.
57
After
one break and tries.
After my updates, he scored 72. Yeah. Not the official SuperCoach updates.
You know, in the preseason, how we sort of create these narratives on, and we put like caveats on players' scores. We're like, oh, you know, in games over 60, he averaged this. I think next year, you're going to be like, no, Zach Hosking, he averaged 72 in games over 60 minutes. Like, no, he scored 57. Like, no, he averaged 62, 72.
In games that were scored correctly, Zach Hosking averaged 75. So
in games scored incorrectly, Zach Hosking's actually 15 points underpriced.
Yeah, but honestly, it could get to that. And the last thing to mention, obviously, Kelma-Tuolangi owners, we've been given the boot. I've been given the boot. And Kelma's been given the boot by Jason Riles. Yep, Josh is gone. Not only did Kelma get hooked 12 minutes into this game last week, he's now just been hooked out of the team completely. So I'm here by myself. Actually, bring it. Give me full screen for a second. Is this going to work? Yep. So just want to officially announce that I'm off the Kelma-Tuolangi train. I am no longer leading the bandwagon on Kelma-Tuolangi. He is out of my team. He is out of Parramatta's team, and that's all I'll have to say about that.
I'm just filming you so that we can record this later.
Good. It's all right. We can clip it up. So get him out of your team. He will be even though we don't mention him in buy, hold, sell, he's definitely a sell, I think, pretty comfortably. Guys,
you know what? It can't get worse. Like, at least you're not going to play him. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, I didn't start with him, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but like, it's not a bad thing being a Kelma-Tuolangi owner and him getting hooked. It's way worse him not playing at all. It's way worse him just coming on and stinking it up. Yeah, so
it was just the pity fucking. Oh well, we have a HIA.
Better send him back out there.
Actually, go back on.
Yeah.
It was your shit. I'm hooking you up to 15. Fuck, I've actually got to play you again. You know,
I've got to play him again.
You know, in like junior footy, where you give that kid like the kid that sucks, like the tokenistic play, and then you're like, oh, I've got to play him this week. His dad's come to watch. I better put him on.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that was like me in cricket. I remember when I was like 14, my dad drove 3 hours, and I said to my coach, please put me up the order. So my coach was like, all right, I'll bet you at 4. And I scored like 2 off 20 balls.
Hey, 20 balls is good. You know, sorry, a bit of time. Saw the shine off the ball. Yeah, did the hard yards. Guys, there's one really hot question here now that we've gone through TLT winners and losers. There's one question that everybody's been asking this week, and it's what do we do with Nicho? Now, for us, it's kind of obvious. I'm pretty confident in saying that I think Nicho is a hold, but we've got 25,000 people that own Nicho Hynes. It seems like 2,500 have seen enough. They're not keen. But I want to shout out the 36 people that know ball that are buying Nicho Hynes this week, because honestly, if you look at his last 3 games that he's played against the Cowboys, you do not see a small score there. Let me give you the red hot tip. Maybe Josh, you're the best person to talk about Nicho Hynes, not to rub it in that you don't have Cleary, but are you making the move? Have you thought about making the move from Nicho to Cleary? Because there's some people out there that are.
As one of my favorite SuperCoach hosts once said, no, hope this helps. Like, do people forget that we're running at fucking Zach Purdue and Kai O'Donnell? Like,
well, maybe they do. Yes.
Did we not see what Hamole Olakau'atu did? And I would say Britton Nikora as a line runner is better than Hamole Olakau'atu.
Mm-hmm.
Britton Nikora is probably the best line runner in the comp. Like, what are we doing?
142, 108, 126. These are in the last 2 seasons as well. I'm not looking back to 2021 fake stats. Like 142 in round 7 last year, 108 in round 25 in 2023, and then 126 in round 9 in 2023. So he just loves playing them. Yeah, they have to travel, but I don't think that matters. The only question mark is the goal kicking for me, Matty. That's the only thing for me that I'd be like, yeah, I don't know whether I love it.
Do you want to know the great thing? Like, you're talking about all these stats, and Cowboys were a top 8 side then. Like, if we had a tweet of the week segment, shout out to No Dunks, it is, I got a feel for John Bateman. He left the worst team in the comp only to end up at the worst team in the comp. Shout out whoever said that on Twitter. I'll credit you somewhere else. But like, realistically, I'm not trading anyone out. Like, despite those stats as to how much Nicho loves playing, like, we've owned halfbacks before that aren't goal kickers. And Nicho playing the Cowboys is honestly more of a buy than a sell. So yeah, those 36 people, yeah, you're my spirit animals.
Look, difference like this is the thing. Like, Cleary's up against the Roosters, who suck. It's plain and simple. But as I said on yesterday's Patreon Q&A, like, I don't think the script could have been written any better for Nicho Hynes. You bail out of Vegas only down about 20 points. And I keep saying, watch the game. Cleary scores 120 points if you don't look at SuperCoach scores. You bail out of there with a 20. You see that Cleary then gets to play the Roosters stuff, what the Broncos did on Friday. Like, you're already like back against the wall, and then you just watch the Cowboys put up the most dismal performance I've ever seen. That's a lie. I watched them against the Tigers concede 60. That's pretty bad. But like, the script could not have been written any better for Nicho Hynes to get away with one this week, I think.
This is as close as he's ever going to get to matching a really nice matchup for Cleary, I think, this year. Like, everyone's shitting their pants not owning Cleary against the Roosters, who also look putrid. So I completely understand why you'd be scared not owning Cleary, but I think this is the best offset possible. So hopefully that covers that question. And I feel like
hope this helps.
Yeah,
Buy
that's it.
Nicho.
Just hold on to him. Buy Nicho.
I wouldn't buy him.
36 people have bigger nuts than us, that's for sure. But let's move on to buy, hold, and sell, guys. And buy, hold, and sell this week and every week is brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. He's probably in the comments somewhere. If your rates are below or above, 5.9%, you want to buy your first home, you want to renovate, maybe you want to save some cash, or just relocate. And Ryan's your guy. He does all the heavy lifting. He's got over 40 lenders on panel, including all the major banks, to get you the best deal. And the best part, it's absolutely no obligation, doesn't cost you a cent. You can book your free consult via the link in the description below. You just let him know that Insight sent you. Now, it's probably a good place to start with the buyers, even though we've talked a little bit tonight about the fact that we're not super keen on using trades. We're going to give you some options anyway, so here come the buyers.
Target acquired.
Well, bringing you one each, and I'm bringing you Hamoli Olakau'atu this week in round 2, playing the Wars this week. They conceded an average of 77 points per player to right edge players in Vegas. Obviously, we've got Hamoli, we've got DCE, we've got Garrick, and we've got Saab on that side, probably one of the better right edges in the competition. I think it's fair to say, and I don't know about you, Josh, but the one thing that I really noticed was the fact that he's added that sweep to his game. We see Garrick running the crash ball, the unders line, and Hamoli sweeping out the back. He got Purdue one-on-one a couple of times, and obviously that was where that first try came from too. I think he's added that to his game. I haven't seen him use that too much in previous seasons, and he just looked like he had this energy this year that he hadn't had in previous years. We've been pretty vocal about the fact that Hamoli can go missing in games, and we were concerned about his work rate, but from what I saw in round 1, he could be a top 5 2RF. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that if he continues that.
Yeah, we just need to see that stat correction, which we have slowly seen over time. Like, we know that he averages less with Turbo in the side, but last year it sort of balanced out a little bit. So maybe the stat is slowly being corrected. But yeah, it's a very scary sight to see big Hamoli hitting an edge ball or a sweep play, and then just isolating the center, which I think is really good coaching by Seabold if they keep it up. So it's a good mismatch. For me, it's Lachlan Hubner. I'm never one for going super early on cheapies, but Hubner's performance with South sort of injury crisis. We've got no Ewan Aitken for the next couple of weeks. We've got no Cam Murray for the season. Wayne's comments about him in the press conference, Wayne was sort of smiling ear to ear, just talking about Hubner and how he brought him down from the Dolphins, and he's integrated really well with the team and whatnot. I think he's like a lock for the foreseeable future in this side. Maybe Aitken slides Arrow to 13, but I just think Arrow's days of playing 13 are sort of behind him, and Hubner could be that guy moving forward. And even if he's not, I still think he's going to get significant off the bench. I'm not expecting 59 minutes every week from Hubner, but it is in his locker that if injuries do happen around him, then we're going to see the big uptick in minutes. 49 or 47 in BP, 4 in evade, and -2 end up on like a 49 or something like that. So I never like going early on cheapies, but he is probably the standard option for me if you're looking to do some course correction, or if you do have a very itchy finger and you want to go like a safe path out to a Hubner, like to free up cash to do something elsewhere. Like he's probably the cheapie buy of the week for me. Shibasaki is still unproven with a, I guess, poorer pedigree in weeks gone by. Jack Kosecki, his score was heavily masked by attack. So if that continues, then obviously wheels up. But if you're looking for consistency, if you're jumping off a guy like Dimitrik, then I think Hubner is your numero uno cheapie. Matty, by the week.
Like it.
Yeah, I much prefer Hubner over some of those other cheapies out there, especially Goss and them. I'm not high on them at all, but I'm going to go back to another Bronco. And we know I don't like to have Broncos in my team, so then they can only let me down once. But Payne Haas is 669K, and he's the best front row forward in the game, and it's not even close. I think Josh said that he was the greatest front row forward of all time. And it's not the try assist or things like that impressed me about his game. Like, it was 4 offloads. It was the fact that he played 49 minutes. He got 100 plus, which outside of AFB, I don't think you have that upside in a front row forward. 669K is underpriced. Like, everybody's getting Terrell May, me included, and we're talking 597K. After I watched the first game, and Terrell May played fantastic for his 78. Like, after watching the first week, I would say there's more of a 70K difference between these two guys. And I know that I hate making trades at front row forward. I say it every single episode. But, like, Payne Haas is a worthy trade, and you could just set and forget him. And I love to forget about front row forward. But if you have Payne Haas and Terrell May and can find a way, I genuinely think by round 11, you will be in the top 8%.
I'm in agreement with the Haas call. I listen. I don't know if anybody listens to Willie Mason's podcast, but he was talking about Payne Haas and just how Madge used him differently. And this is only round 1, but you can only go off what we've seen so far. And just being able to send Haas out there and just go out there and just go hammer and tong for 30 minutes. Just fucking go out and flog yourself for 30 minutes. I think in the past, he's been known to be this big minute prop that plays 60, 65 minutes a game. So he's had to conserve himself to make sure he had enough energy to get through the game. Whereas I think Madge is just saying, go out there and just, go hammer and tong, go as hard as you can for 25, 30 minutes, and I'll give you a good break. And also, I think Paddy Carrigan has made a really big difference for Haas as that 1-2 punch. Like, you get Carrigan in the 8, Haas in the 10 or whatever it be, and Carrigan takes the first hit up of every set. And then you've got fucking Payne Haas coming at you on the second tackle. Like, Tell me that's not terrifying for opposition teams. Like, it seems like Madge is using him differently this year. I love it. So let's move on to the hold, shall we? Let's rewind the list. Mattrix, kick us off with the holds.
Mate, and it's Jacob Preston, somebody I don't own, but if I did own, I would be holding. He scored 49 last week, and it was basically in base stats, and to be completely honest, he didn't get that much good ball. It's actually a win, and he shouldn't be traded out. Look, he proved last year that he can score tries, and the Bulldogs believe in him. Like, you should too. Like, you got him because you thought that he could be a 700K guy. Like, yeah, like, it's fair that you're frustrated at 49 and you feel like you've spent up to a genuine gun at 600K. But yeah, you just need to remember that just after one game, that's not a guy that you trade out. Like if 49 is his floor, and genuinely, I think 45 could be Jacob Preston's floor. That's great. Like 49 is not disappointing. And yes, it's disappointing when you have a look and you're 25, 45, 65, 85,000. But I'm banking on Jacob Preston scoring a hell of a lot more than, honestly, like your Zach Hoskins and blokes like that people saved a lot of money to get. So yeah, just back yourself in. You pick Jacob Preston for a reason. He's definitely, if you trade him out, it's a knee-jerk reaction because you're a little bit butthurt. Just hold Preston, please.
Josh, who are you holding this week?
In unrelated news, Mikhaili Ravalawa is going to join Souths after this week's game on like a on like a loan. So I just saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kind of interesting. I mean, I don't hate it, sure. Hold for me is Mr. Harold Grant. The pumping Melbourne gave Parramatta wasn't the game for Harry Grant to thrive in. If I'm Harry Grant owner, I'm taking the 61 and getting the hell out of there. Grant is the master of manipulating goal line defenses and sending his big men over. But in a game where Melbourne just rolled through the middle and sent the ball wide to dismantle Parramatta, Grant was not needed to do what he does best. Tight games are where Grant thrives, and the round 2 bye is not a surprise. You purchased the best 9 in the game for a reason. He is a must hold. That is my little write-up from Patreon. But yeah, basically, like in, I guess, a more casual term, they just hit the edges. And Grant wasn't needed to take 3 steps out and turn Nelson, Stefano, Tui Kamika, all these guys under. It was much more just going wide and trying to isolate Volkman, trying to isolate Brown. And they did that with like a lot of 1-2 inside balls or outside balls. So, Grant was frustrating because, he spent most of the time looking for penalties, which he's so good at doing. But from a Supercoach standpoint, it doesn't help us. But I think they play Penrith in round 3. I think that's going to be a much more ideal game for Grant. Quick play the balls. He'll try and just scurry out and create stuff. So unless any news comes up this weekend of, other hookers getting role changes, then I'm just holding Harry Grant.
Yep. Makes complete sense. My hold, and I'm struggling to understand why people are trading him out, is Casey McLean. Yeah. Now, we picked Casey McLean at the start of the year, or I didn't, but people did, because he averages 54 in games that he started at centre last year. We saw him start at centre. Obviously, he's on the wing this time, which is probably a better position. Attacking upside is there, probably better base and kick returns and things like that. So for me, I mean, if you picked him in round 1, he hasn't missed a game for you. And just remember that the first score drops out. That 4 from the HIA is going to drop out. You're not going to miss him for a game. You've got him to play. So come round 4, that score is going to drop out. He might lose cash initially, but you're going to make that cash back pretty much within a round or 2. Over 2,400 people are selling Casey McLean. It just makes no sense to me. So I think he's definitely a hold, good base on the wing, and I reckon there's every chance he scores a meat pie this weekend. So definitely a guy I'll probably even look to play this week against the Roosters.
Honestly, he's the guy that I kind of have floated in my head about buying, not as a sell. So yeah, that's a perfect hold
for sure. All right, speaking of the sells, let's move on to them. Now, it's not often that we're going to tell you to sell a 232k cheapie, but my sell is Dimitri Vermaelen. 13 minutes for 16 points in game 1. I mean, look, I'm not opposed to holding him, but I think out of all of the sells, this one's the most obvious. There's a lot of big middle forwards in this team as well. I think we need to look at Barnett. James Fisher-Harris can play 50, 55 minutes a game. You've got Jackson Ford, who's a big minute guy. Nia Corey and Capewell on the edges can play 80. They probably don't. They'll probably play 65. And then you've got Walker and Aaron Clark sharing some 13 minutes. Like, there's a lot to go around. And we saw Halasima also play 26 minutes compared to Vaimalga's 13. Was that due to the structure and the last minute change at the hour team lists in Vegas? Maybe. But for me, I'm just struggling to see where the bulk minutes are going to come from. He only needs about maybe 20 to 25 minutes at his PPM to make you a little bit of money. But I think even then he probably tops out at that 300, 350 mark if everything goes his way. You spoke earlier about Hubner, Josh, being a buy. I think Vermaelen to Hubner could be the most logical play this week if you need you've called it a cheapy correction trade. I'd probably say that might be the most glaringly obvious this week with the amount of people that own Vermaelen.
Yeah, it's a move that I'm strongly. Not strongly. It's a move that I am considering. It's probably a 90% chance I do it next week. To Gasecki, like not to Hubner, but because I've already owned. But yeah, Dimitri, if the minutes don't pick up this week, then I'm moving off. I'm trying to put a red line through last week's performance from the Warriors, because the rotation was very much shuffled last minute, which we all have the theory that it was just to try and match big bodies with big bodies. And Dimitri is much more of a natural edge that they're trying to convert into a more mobile middle. So maybe that was just a play there. But I don't hate trading out. I think in a perfect world we hold and reassess. But I can understand the itchy finger, especially if you don't own Hubner, especially if you need to play someone like a Hubner this week as well. If you've gone heavy on Storm guys and you're down to your 21st, 22nd man, then playing a guy like Hubner is fine. If you're having to bring him in to do that, I also think that's fine. I just wouldn't be doing it if it's just for the sake of doing it. I'd rather just wait.
For sure. Mate, you're up next. I'm
up next. Look, it's not something I can say with my chest. Normally I'm a man of very strong opinion. This one is probably one of the few where I don't really have much care factor on it. But it's Luke Metcalf, and purely down to the fact that people are very itchy to make trades, and I think he's the most expendable. I do think it might be a week too early. Andrew Webster's come out in the media and spoke about how he wants Luke to run the ball more and get back the footy that he played. It's a big occasion for a young bloke. It's his first game back after he was out in round 3. I think he came back at the back end of last season, but first game at 7 at Vegas under the bright lights. Like, it's no bigger crowd that he's going to, be up in front of, like the first game of the season in front of a worldwide audience. Maybe the lights are a little bit too bright, but happy to give him another week. But if he's a guy that, you're looking to make trades on, if you were to bring a Nicho Hynes in, then Metcalf's probably the guy that I could foresee you moving on. But if I'm being very transparent, it's not a move that I am making.
And Melissa Hanson said, what is the opposite song for Jesus Walks?
Sound of Silence, so I guess.
Could be. Yeah, I like it. Matty, who's your sell for this week?
Oh, look, Melissa, I think it's Drops of Jupiter. But yeah, absolute banger. Look, my sell this week is Royce Hunt. I just think he got it wrong. And
not the choice. Not the choice.
It's Royce, not the choice. Honestly, like, I think you need to look. Royce isn't the problem. You need to look inside yourself.
I feel like we had Royce as a sell in round 2 last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Honestly, you just need to look inside yourself and say, hey, I made this mistake. I got it wrong. Because nothing changed for him. It's just 30 minutes that he played, 11 tackles, 6 runs for 66. He's a 250K guy that will be sub 300K at the end of the year and absolutely not playable. So, look, he's 30% owned. I honestly don't get it. He's just not the choice. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, none of us started with him, thankfully, and that's probably the reason why. Is I don't know whether the minutes are there. And also, we've got to believe the Tigers are going to be not spending time under the posts. I think he'll be better this week, but I definitely think he's a trade out. And I'll tell you what, your burner's doing overtime here in the chat, Mattrix.
Paul Walter, far out.
Yeah, he's a fan. He's a fan, that's for sure. But hey, it looks like you got a president and a vice president of the Mattrix fan club in the chat officially. So good start to the year. Good start to the year for Matty. Let's move on to the watch list for round 2.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
I must admit I haven't updated these, and I forgot that I made that. So, still pretty happy with it, actually. Savelio Tamale, the main watch for me this week. I think anybody going early on him, there's a lot of danger. We don't trust Ricky Stewart. We never do. I don't want to play Ricky Roulette, and there is every chance that he keeps his favourite, one of his favourites, Hopewadi, in the team when Xavier Savage comes back from suspension. So round 3, we get a look at what their full-strength backline looks like, boys. So I think there's absolutely no need to go early. Even if you are playing him, surely you've got another option that you can play at centre wing rather than bring Tamale into play this week. Josh, do you agree? Is there anybody else from the Raiders maybe?
As per sources, maybe Ethan Strange. I think he looks really good, like running well. Obviously having Fog there, having a more natural 7 is going to free up a guy like Strange in his second season. More improvement more game time under his belt. Raiders are probably a little bit better than people thought. So, look, yeah, I'm not going to buy too much into the stock just yet because it was against a pretty hapless, what are they called? Warriors, them? Pretty hapless Warrior side. But, yeah, I think Ethan Strange is a guy, especially if McCuff fails again, especially if people that started with Brimson, if he didn't perform, Dogs is not an easy matchup. So, definitely, yeah, Ethan Strange could be the savior for some people in round 3.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Oh, also Watchlist for all the wrong reasons, I guess, KO Weeks as well. He's a guy definitely at 5'8" to watch as well. If he improves, fantastic. But yeah, I think you got to give him one more week as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Anybody you're watching this week, Matty?
Yeah, I had to bring up the same guys that we've been talking about, but for me, it is probably Tom Gilbert and Casey McLean. I've always said that I will get a winger if they're underpriced from the Panthers. So it's just about, Brian Toto coming in. Let's see how much good ball or how much they head Casey McLean's way, especially when it comes to, the changing in the halves, changing of the guard, whatever you want to call whatever's happened at Penrith with Luai leaving. But yeah, Casey McLean and just Tom Gilbert, like if he can bang out another 65, I think I'm going to have to jump on because he's just a guy that I've wanted to hold. And we're talking watch list. Like it's all going to depend as to whether I think that Alex Seyfarth can score the same as Tom Gilbert in the coming weeks, or I have to jump off Alex Seyfarth to go to Tom Gilbert. So yeah, I know that, that's probably not the answers you're looking for because it's so pointed, but look, Casey McLean could honestly come out and score 70. And I want to maybe go a week ahead. So
I tell you what, it's going to be a tough decision when Alex Seyfarth scores 87 this week. Are you going to have to decide whether you go Seyfarth to Gilbert for the cash?
Yeah.
And
last one, boys. Maybe I'm just sort of out thinking the room here, but just I guess watching the Roosters play last week, looking at the bench they've named this week, I thought Zach Clay did really good things when he came on and played 9. And I look at a bench of Makahisi Makatoa, Blake Steep, and Taylor Losailu. I wouldn't be too shocked to see Connor Watson, if not starting at 13 on game day, but definitely playing more minutes. I think Zach Clay did a very serviceable job, and having Watson play mass minutes at 13 takes away responsibility out of Losailu, Steep, and Makatoa. And even Celeste Fogarty as well. I wouldn't be shocked to see Connor Watson start at 13 or even just play bulk minutes at lock with Victor Radley out. So definitely a watch. I think Radley, people are calling for a month on the sidelines. If Connor Watson's playing big minutes at lock, we know his average is ginormous. He's definitely a guy that I'm watching as well. If he's named at 13 on game day, it's going to be very hard for me not to backtrack on my Harry Grant Holt statement either.
Yeah, Connor Watson last year in 7 games over 70 minutes starting at lock averaged 83.1. So, yeah, definitely a guy we want in if he's playing bulk minutes at the 13, that's for sure. But the reason we weren't initially or overly keen is because at 9, his scoring was suppressed a fair bit. So, in the 13, very different story, that's for sure. Guys, very quick rapid-fire start-sit before we move on to captains. We're getting a few start-sit questions here on who should be my last reserve or who should be my 18th man. So, I'm going to give you 5. We'll just go with you. Both of you can answer and give me one name.
Do we want thumbs up, thumbs down, all of us?
Yeah, let's do thumbs up, thumbs down. I like that. So thumbs up for the first option, thumbs down for the second option. Cool. Naf White versus Aaron Clark. So that's Aaron Clark for all of us over Naf White this week. Adam Dewey versus Luke Metcalf. Okay. Dewey,
hang on.
I'm Metcalf.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah. Okay, so Matty's sell us on Dewey then. Why should we play Dewey over Metcalf?
Fuck Dewey. You just tossed your boy out after 3 months of preseason?
No. So big Metcalf fan, and I think he's a hold. But I just want to give him a week. I don't want to put pressure on Jesus to end up he knows that he's going to be up on the cross at some stage. So I don't want to put pressure on him, and I don't want him to cat out. So look, just sit him this week. Let him, grow his nuts,
Surely
accustomed to playing in New Zealand and Australia. What's that?
Surely if you're sitting him this week, you just sell him, don't you?
No, I just sit him this. I don't have Cam Munster or anyone like that.
No, but I'd love to know the thought process, because if you sit him and he does really well, you should have just started him. And if you play him and he does really shit, then you're selling him next week. I don't. I mean,
You
you're
know
ranked
this.
first, so
Honestly, man, there's 27 weeks of the season, and the Tigers are playing the Eels, and the Eels proved last week that they're just fucking dog shit. So honestly, I was more impressed with the Tigers than I was the Eels. So
maybe it was the 8 Carlton drafts that I had, or the Carlton drives that I had, that really blurred my and the fact that I have only one working eye blurred my appreciation for the Tigers. Sorry, this is supposed to be rapid fire. I was just very surprised to see Mattrix be the one to jump ship on his boy.
It's not. It's just
we're
one
two
week.
Tigers fans too. Versus
It's just that's
Jesus
it. And
Wolves.
I don't own Dewey, so I'm playing Metcalf. So I know that's. But if I had Adam Dewey, after what we all saw the same thing in Vegas, it was awful. That's why I'm getting so many messages. But just Adam Dewey, you could just play him this week. They're going to score more points against the Eels than they did.
I do
in
love
that
the fact that you two are growing in your SC personalities. And now every week I get a message from either one of you being like, fuck, is this what you had to put up with all this time? I'm like, yeah. All right, next one.
It's been fun.
I got kicked out of my NRL fantasy comp, in case I haven't mentioned.
Oh, yeah,
Because you're a professional.
fantasy pro.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah, I'm in one. I'm not even in a fantasy comp.
Oh, good. All right, let's move on. Sandon Smith versus Corey Pakes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all on Sandon Smith. Good choice.
Unanimous.
Okay, this has been a question we've got a little bit in the WhatsApp. Alex Seyfarth versus Lachlan Hubner.
This isn't close.
Nah, it's
They're playing the
comfortable.
Eels.
No, but like
Yeah.
this is just the length of the strike. This is length of Flemington for me. It's not close.
Yeah, Seyfarth comfortably, I think, for all of us. And Tamale versus Shibasaki is the last one. Playing Shibasaki.
Sorry.
Good. All right, we're back on track.
Yeah.
Nearly panicked. But anyway, okay, so it was Aaron Clark that got the majority. It was Metcalf. It was Sandon Smith, Alex Seyfarth, and Savelio Tamale who won those little matchups. Now, we should move on to captaincy, shouldn't we?
We should.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I'll kick things off. We're bringing one VC and one C to the table each, as we do every week. Again, I've probably got the most popular combination in VC Turbo. Look, they could do seriously anything to the Warriors. I know it's at home, and I think the Warriors will be better. I definitely don't think it's going to be an absolute drubbing. But the way that how good Manly looked, I think that Turbo's going to be attacking that right side, and I think they're just going to pepper that right side. DCE, Turbo sweeping, Hamoli, Garrick. That they could do a number on them out there. But I do expect the Warriors to be better. The one thing that makes me feel good about Turbo is the fact that he scored 113 without a try. I think the try is only around the corner. I think he'll score one this weekend. I think probably Turbo goes 130, and the question becomes, what do you take as a VC loop if you've got Cleary as your captain? Who is my captain? I think Cleary could go 150 plus this week.
Fuck, I hope not.
Yeah, you're hoping for a 42, and I'd probably cry.
No, honestly, I'd take it 85. If you said Cleary scores 85, I'd be like, sweet.
Yeah, Nicho could match that.
I think if you're a Harry Grant owner, you can probably take a less VC loop because you're stuck playing Sandon Smith. So it's like, well, he's probably going to be my 18th man anyway. So I think your threshold's lower. I'm still probably like looking at like 115, 120. And taking that and running.
For me, the problem is I would have to trade in a Storm player to get the loop. So not ideal. It means I'd have to burn a trade I don't want to make to take the loophole, which means that maybe my threshold would be a little bit higher. If I'm going to have to trade a player out, I'd want 130 to 150, I think, for Turbo. But again, I think he's one of the best options to start the week. So here's my VC into Cleary C is just not even needed to be explained against the Roosters this week. I think that could be a monster score. Maddie, who are you backing in for VC and captain?
It's the first game of the round. I wasn't impressed by the Dolphins. I wasn't super impressed by Newcastle either, but like Kalen Ponga just looked like that guy that was just ready to unleash, and it just never happened last week. I can get around a VC of Ponga, and again probably into your captain of Cleary or captain of Turbo. But look, Ponga against the Dolphins, they were Dolphins were uninspiring. Newcastle looked like they were just ready to let Kalen run riot. He scored 82 and honestly didn't look like he did that much. Like, that could have very easily been a lot higher. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard because I don't really have eyes for anyone outside of Turbo and Cleary as a captain. So yeah, it makes it super hard. But if anything, the Panthers are playing the Roosters, and if you have Dylan Edwards for whatever reason, you could captain him. I did see like Dylan Edwards had a bad game last game and still scored, what was it, nearly 80 SuperCoach points. Yeah, look, you could just back him in. Cleary went to Edwards early and often to be that secondary playmaker, and that's why who was it? Cole didn't scored like 27 SuperCoach points. He was a bit of a passenger in that game, and it might be a theme for the season that it's going to be Edwards and it's going to be Cleary that make the decisions. So
Don't mind it. Josh, who you got this week?
Jabana Sarko is a VC, coming up against Greg Marzu. I don't expect the 100-point performance like if I had to bet on it, but I think the ceiling's there. We do have Cody Nikorima coming back, so the ball probably is going to be a little bit more split-sided, so maybe less ball focusing heavily on the right, but Sarko is a guy who can score really good points, has a good ceiling, and like I said, with this new flex rule, I think our threshold for VC is a little bit lower. We saw him score 2 tries and get nearly 100. And that was with very minimal goal kicking. If the Dolphins improve, then you can probably give him another 10, 12 points of goal kicking, and he's pushing that, 115 or so. In saying that, I had the pick of the bunch this week, and I didn't want to take many of the obvious options. So I'd be leaning more on especially your option, Braino, and definitely Maddie's as well. But if you want to go a little bit left field, I didn't hate the old Sarko shout. Just based off what he done last week.
And you know what? People probably still can hear you shouting when Asako scored.
Yeah, the echo
4
is
days
still
later
from West Leagues in Campbelltown.
Talk to us about your captain.
So for me, it is it's Nicho Hynes, isn't it? Of course. You're looking at what that right did last week against the Cowboys. You now got Kai O'Donnell in a new combination. You already had a new combination in Nanai. You've now got an even newer one in Kai O'Donnell. I don't expect that they would have trained too much with no Nanai over the preseason. So the fact that you've got him, Purdue, linking up with Dearden, who also missed 7 tackles last week as well. You've got Brett Nickera, a brilliant line runner. You've got Jesse Ramian, who was very, very good last week against the Panthers as well. And Sam Stonestreet, who is a phenomenal try scorer in that right as well. So, all signs point towards Nicho Hynes being the guy for me.
Yeah, you talked about squeaky bum time earlier. I'll tell you what, if Nicho gets a short ball to Nickera and puts him over in the first 5 minutes of the game, everyone will be shitting their pants that doesn't have Nicho.
Don't worry, that was me last week, and I was cheering Yahoo all the way around, and it faded out. It's going to be squeaky bum time as well if you see that in the first 5 minutes, then you do see Nicho with the tee in hand. So that could be another 20, 30 points if the Cowboys form is to what we saw last week. The only saving grace is it is at Townsville. So what's that going to do? Is there going to be a bounce back factor? But I'm not a Cowboys guy, so
fair enough. There's our vice captains and captains for round 2. And guys, we'll leave you with our game day squad of the week, of course, brought to you by Game Day Squad. For those of you that have never heard of them, they're big on the market now. Game Day Squad are the perfect crossover between card collecting and fantasy sports. You can play for free and you can win for free as well. You can collect, you can trade, you can buy and sell cards, you can build yourself a squad, and you can compete against your friends and the Insight community as well. We've got our own league there as well. So they're giving away up to 100,000 in prizes as well. So you can go and sign up at gamedaysquad.com.au. You can download the Game Day Squad app and you can use the code IFSAUS. And that'll get you 3 9-player common packs to get your squad started. We will be posting our squad of the week on our social media from tomorrow. So make sure you keep an eye out there for that squad of the week. There's definitely a Payne Haas in there for sure, Mattrix. This week.
Mate, he was in my team last week. And for those that I don't want to tell people if they're electing to watch us instead of the NBL, but they have Australian basketball as well. And Tyler Harvey is the GOAT. Write that down. Like, I tell you what, platinum Tyler Harveys are about to sell for $65 tonight. Tell you.
That is a big call. All right. So yeah, keep an eye out on the Game Day Squad of the Week on the Insight Fantasy Sports Instagram. We'll be posting that tomorrow. So, but guys, that'll do us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting involved. The chat has been absolutely humming, as has the Patreon. So if you want to become a Patreon subscriber, you get access to our buy, hold, and sell articles, our weekly wrap-ups, our studs and duds. We're doing captain's articles as well. You'll see them throughout the week, and the WhatsApp chat has been popping off. So remember to obviously hit subscribe as well. If you want to support the show, hit the like button. Leave us a review on audio if you're listening to us there. Join the Unlimited League. 211518 is the code, and we will see you Sunday for the weekly wrap-up. Good luck this week. Catch you then.
Cheerio.